Tonight, Hollywood and politics collide once again. And this time, it's not about a campaign speech or a red carpet debate. It's about a friendship that couldn't survive the storm. Comedian Tig Notaro has opened up about her painful falling out with longtime friend and podcast co-host Cheryl Hines, revealing that Hines's public support for her husband, Robert F. Kennedy Jr., and his controversial political decisions pushed their relationship beyond repair. "I just couldn't do it anymore," Notaro admitted during a recent interview, her tone a mix of sorrow and resolve. What began as an easy creative partnership built on laughter and trust ended under the weight of politics, loyalty, and moral lines too deep to ignore. For fans of their podcast Tig and Cheryl True Story, the revelation came as a heartbreak. Two women known for their chemistry, humor, and sincerity, suddenly divided by one of America's most polarizing figures. Notaro shared the details on the Breaking Bread with Tom Papa podcast earlier this week, describing how Cheryl Hines, the beloved star of Curb Your Enthusiasm, became one of her favorite friends during their years of collaboration. From 2020 to 2023, the two hosted Tig and Cheryl, True Story, a lighthearted show where they dissected documentaries with humor and wit. But behind the laughter, tension began to grow. "Cheryl's married to Bobby Kennedy Jr.," Notaro said, "and when he announced his run, I just felt like I needed to step away." She explained that Kennedy's beliefs, once harmless and distant, became impossible to ignore as they moved further into the national spotlight. "What once felt like an occasional gnat on the arm," she said, began to sting. "To understand this rift, we have to rewind." Cheryl Hines married Robert F. Kennedy Jr. in 2014. At the time, he was primarily known for his environmental activism and advocacy work. For Notaro, that was fine. Environmental law didn't raise eyebrows. But as Kennedy's views evolved, especially regarding vaccines and government policy, things changed. "At first, Cheryl wanted me to hear Bobby out," Notaro recalled. "She'd say, 'He has some good ideas,' but I couldn't. I just didn't trust it." When Kennedy endorsed Donald Trump, Notaro says, "It just got hard. It wasn't simply about political affiliation, it was about principle. The friendship that had once been effortless now carried the weight of controversy and conviction." Cheryl Hines, for her part, has largely stayed quiet about her personal political stance, at least publicly. When Kennedy announced his run for the presidency in 2023, she appeared supportive but non-committal, often telling interviewers that she and her husband don't always agree. At first, many saw this as a graceful way to navigate a complex marriage in the public eye. But as Kennedy's statements on COVID-19, vaccines, and conspiracy theories intensified, fans and colleagues began questioning her silence. Hines faced backlash from Hollywood peers who accused her of lending credibility to misinformation simply by association. Yet, she stood by her husband, saying it was her role to be supportive, not political. That defense, however, seemed to crumble when Kennedy dropped out of the presidential race and publicly endorsed Donald Trump. Suddenly, the "we don't agree on everything" line no longer satisfied those who once gave her the benefit of the doubt. Critics called her complicit, supporters called her loyal, and her friend Tig Notaro, once her closest ally, quietly walked away. "When you say, 'we don't agree on everything,' that's so vague," Notaro remarked. "At some point, it's not just about disagreement. It's about what you're okay aligning yourself with." Her words resonated across the entertainment world, where friendships and values are increasingly tested by the politics of identity and belief. The story took another turn when Cheryl Hines appeared on The View earlier this week. For the first time, she clearly echoed some of her husband's views, including skepticism toward vaccines, and even remarks about Tylenol use during pregnancy. The segment made headlines almost instantly, leaving fans stunned. After months of ambiguity, it appeared Hines was no longer distancing herself from Kennedy's ideology. She was reinforcing it. That admission, according to insiders, sealed the fate of her friendship with Notaro. "It's not my world," Notaro said bluntly. "You're okaying a particular ride for this country to go on, and I can't be part of that." What makes this story so gripping is not just the celebrity names attached to it, but the very human dilemma it represents. How far do loyalty and friendship go when beliefs divide us? Can a person truly separate love from ideology in today's hyper-political landscape? For Hines, standing by her husband might seem like an act of devotion, but for others, it's a statement of alignment. For Notaro, walking away wasn't about canceling a friend. It was about preserving her integrity. "It's really sad," she admitted, "because that friendship brought me so much joy. Cheryl brought me joy." The sadness in her words reminds us that political fractures don't only tear through governments, they tear through the heart of everyday relationships. As the dust settles, fans of Tig and Cheryl True Story look back on their favorite moments with a bittersweet sense of nostalgia. The laughter, the chemistry, the shared admiration for storytelling, all now overshadowed by a larger narrative of division. Still, both women continue on their paths. Cheryl Hines stands by Robert F. Kennedy Jr., now serving as Trump's controversial health secretary, while Tig Notaro remains one of comedy's most respected voices, using her platform to speak openly about conviction, truth, and boundaries. Their story serves as a mirror of our times, where personal relationships meet public consequences, and where choosing what you believe in can sometimes mean losing who you love.